Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the Japanese Tier 7 Tech Tree Tank Destroyer, the Cheeto SP. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Cheeto SP. It's a tank destroyer that I do very much enjoy. I really enjoyed playing through it when I ground through the Japanese tank destroyer line. It is a pretty damn solid Tier 7 tank destroyer, and that's because the gun that is on this tank, the 105mm gun, is actually really quite nice. You've got pretty good DPM. Your camouflage on this vehicle is pretty good as well. You've got decent view range for a Tier 7 tank destroyer. And then, in terms of your mobility, you're a little bit slow, but on the whole, the armour actually works quite well. And I say the armour works quite well, it works quite well tier for its tier. So against tier 5s and 6s, it's pretty good. Against tier 7s, it's pretty good. And against tier 8s, it can ricochet shots as long as they don't catch shots into the cupola. What its strength is going hull down. So taking a position like you're seeing right here, go into a position where they can't see the lower plate, you're accentuating the superstructure's armour by the angle that they can shoot from, naturally, being on a ridgeline and using your full 7 degrees of gun depression, and you'll ricochet a decent amount of shells. That's where this tank wants to be. It wants to be behind the bushes. It is a tank destroyer. It is a bit of a sniper, right? It wants to be behind cover, using its camo, and then using ridgelines to good effect to be able to bounce shots. But I do enjoy the tank on the whole. I just thoroughly enjoyed playing it as a turretless tank destroyer. So the vehicle does have a 40km/h top speed with a 15km/h reverse speed, 550 horsepower engine, which is 14.99 horsepower per ton ratio, which means you do get up to that 40km/h top speed. I'd say it can be a little bit sluggish, but generally the mobility is just a little bit average in that regard at 40. You do have a 20% internal fire chance, which means you do get set on fire by being shot in the back end, so be careful of that in your Cheeto SP. Your ground resistances are 2.21, 1.2 and 1.01 on soft, medium and firm respectively, which means that, yeah, it is a little bit sluggish with the ground resistances, so be careful of that. With the 34.88 degrees a second hull rotation speed, which means the tank does actually turn fairly quickly for a turretless tank destroyer. That means you can keep up with vehicles as they start to circle you at times, which is quite nice for it. But it's still not the fastest in the universe. It's not like a Basotto, for example, but then that's overkill with how fast it turns, and you sit there going, I'm turning too quickly! Sometimes having that slightly slow track traverse can be a little bit nice for control's sake. So we've got 241 meters of still concealment with 292 meters of on-the-move concealment with the build that I run. The on-the-move concealment isn't that great, but the still concealment is pretty damn nice. So if you play that tank destroyer role where you're a little bit further back from the action, that means you can stay unspotted quite easily in this vehicle. 473 meters of view range, like I say, isn't great, but it's also not bad. For a turretless tank destroyer at tier 7, that's pretty okay. You're not going to go out-spotting things exceptionally easily, but your camo being so good does help you in that regard a little bit as well, with the fact that your view range doesn't extend too far. Naturally, it goes up to 445 meters of spotting cap, so you can spot things up to 445, but then for every meter over 445 meters of view range, you start to devalue people's camo and spot the stealthier tanks that little bit easier. So we've got 28.28 degrees a second on the turret traverse as well. It's not got a turret, so when you look at the turret rotation speed, what it actually means is the gun traverse, how fast the gun traverses left to right, so it's pretty quick. You've got 0.81 accuracy during rotation, which means that, again, it's pretty good on rotation in the accuracy, with 2.46 accuracy during movement, which isn't too good, but it's a staple, really, of tank destroyers that their accuracy during movement is so poor that the aim circle does bloom out a lot after you've moved. You've got 2.12 second aim time, though, which means it does aim in quite quickly, which can be nice for the old Cheeto SP. 7 degrees of gun depression means that you can be quite flexible on a ridgeline. It's not brilliant, but it's also not bad. You sit in that average level with your gun depression, meaning that it does struggle depending on the incline of the ridgeline, but for the most part, you can still use it quite flexibly. You've got 0.32 accuracy at 100 meters, which is pretty decent for the 105mm gun on this tank. 2.8k DPM, nearly 2.9k DPM with a 6.71 second reload, which is really good DPM for a tier 7 tank destroyer. 205 pen on the standard AP is great, with 244 penetration on the premium AP, which again is fantastic for a tier 7 tank destroyer. You don't really struggle to pen anything you face, which is glorious for this vehicle. 320 output on average as well is pretty nice. It means you do hit fairly hard when you do hit, and that can be pretty good for the Cheeto SP. With 925 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP, I mean, you do have to give a good amount of lead to hit targets at distance with this AP round. And with the premium AP, sorry, it's not APCR, with the premium AP, it's 1,050 meters a second shell velocity, which means it is a little bit better, but it's only just slightly above average. So it's not great, but it means you don't have to give as much lead as you do with the standard round, so be careful of that. And you do have 60 millimeters of penetration on the standard HE round, which gives you 420 damage on average, which can be quite useful for going against some of the artilleries and things like that. But yeah, on the whole, statistically, the Cheeto SP is a very nice Tier 7 tank destroyer. It's fully capable of having nice games. Naturally, as a Tier 7 tank destroyer, if you get against Tier 8s and 9s, it can go quite badly if you get caught out. But you've got enough assets for you to be able to make the most of every game you end up being in. Like I say, nice gun accuracy, great penetration, pretty damn good DPM, average gun depression, average mobility, armor that holds up pretty well for its tier, with pretty good camo. But you saw that first game we finished with Scooches, the first class, 1778 base XP for 3k damage and 5 kills in a Tier 9 game, which is the worst matchmaking you could see in this vehicle, and it was pretty nice to have that sort of game in the Cheeto SP. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on this vehicle? Well, I run Ball Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Track Mechanics, Steady Aim, Camouflage Piece, Muffled Shot, Clutch Braking, with the Advanced Loader, the Camouflage Net, and the Optics. Optics to be able to get the 473 meters of view range, so I can at least try and spot for myself and not be too blind. Camouflage Net to get that 241 meters of still concealment, so that I'm pretty damn stealthy from sitting still, basically. The Advanced Loader to make the DPM as good as possible. As you are a TD, you're a tank destroyer. It's nice to have the better DPM to be able to destroy tanks quickly. The Camouflage Expertise, I should say, to knock that camo down, with the Muffled Shot to reduce the effect of firing on my camo, so I can stay stealthed for longer while firing. With Clutch Braking to make that track traverse better, so that, again, if light tanks do circle around me, I am getting onto target that little bit quicker. With the Steady Aim to make the accuracy on the tank generally just that little bit better. But obviously there is plenty of things you could run on that. If you wanted to make the on-the-move concealment better, you could run Silent Driving instead of Muffled Shot. If you feel happy with the accuracy, but I would fully recommend you take the Steady Aim. If you feel happy with the accuracy, you could drop that and run the Silent Driving. Silent Driving is one of those that I do feel like it would be very, very nice on this vehicle, just to reduce that effect of movement on the camo. But it's down to you and how you want to play the vehicle. So this second game, we're here on this map, which is Redshire. And on Redshire, what we've done is come to this position here at F4-5, which can be pretty nice for getting shots at people as they cross the BC line, and for getting some cheeky shots at people like the APMX-30 there that are on top of the ridge line. But sadly, we got spotted a bit early, and we took some big thunks. And the big thunks chunked our HP out of this game. And so we're on 400 hit points, which means we're a one-shot for quite a few vehicles in this Tier 8 game. But that's not going to stop us. We're still going to try our best to have a nice game here on Redshire. It is a Tier 8 game, as you can see, which is obviously not the best, but it is what it is. And we're up to 967 damage with 331 assistance damage. I'm just watching what the enemy team's doing. We see that we might have a chance to shoot the T-77, but we can't quite find that shot. And then we can't find the heavy tank on the right-hand side. So I decided to push in because we see where the CS-53 lease is, sorry, the CS-52 lease is, and the medium tank at D4. So maybe we can get a shot to see at their CS-52 lease. So we're going to come over the ridgeline, see if we can get a shot at him as he crosses. That's where the camo's pretty nice on the Cheeto SP, because that guy couldn't see us until we fired. But then we started getting shot at from behind, so we had to quickly duck down as low as possible, as quickly as possible, to avoid the shot. We're still looking for the shot into the CS-52 lease. Now, that was a risky business shot, as the 52 lease could have got a shot at us quite easily around that corner. Artillery also did miss us, and we've got to be careful because the artillery could end up smashing us quite easily. We don't want to lose hit points to that guy, because we're not a one-shot for the CS-52 lease, which is why I'm taking the chance. So we aim up the shot. Thankfully, the 52 lease misses, and we shot down that Polish Tier 8 premium medium tank. So we're up to 1,500 damage with 331 assistance, and it's currently 12-8, so the game's going pretty well. So we're going to maneuver ourselves into a better position to maybe get shots at the guys that are at D9. But you can see the T-77 is actually below that hill, and the TD we can't quite get a shot at. But we actually managed to lock onto the T-77, so I'm just going to see if I can cheekily see him. Butler, the Lorraine 155-51, actually gets a shot into him and shuts him down. So we're going to pressure, because we know where one TD is, we know where the heavy tank and the other TD is, we now know where the medium tank and the Draugen is, so we're pretty confident in going quite aggressive over ridge lines to start popping shots. So we put a shot straight through the Draugen there, putting us onto 1,800. Because the Draugen's pulled back, we're going to put a shot into the side of the IS Desmond Tutu, but we get detected, and the IS Desmond Tutu wasn't the one looking at us, so it's like, okay, Mr. Draugen, I don't want it. Then we see the KV-4 KTTS in the distance. The artillery gets a big shot at us without the artillery warning going off. Pain. But we do get the shot into the KV-4 KTTS to finish that guy off in the distance, so we're now not got a threat to our behind. Again, we know where the heavy tank is, we know where the medium tank is. M40-43 in the open, though, so we shut down the Tier 8 American artillery, putting us onto our third kill of the game. The IS Desmond 22's out in the open, he's getting pressured by our TDs, so we're just going to go in, be aggressive, get the kill on this guy, shut him down for our fourth kill. We have shots at the Dragon, though, so I'm just going to be careful not to get shut down by that guy. He's killed our KTTS, though, so I'm just going to take the chance to put a shot in. We do have to be careful, because their artillery is... Oh, he's looking at us. I don't like it. No likey, no likey. Don't do it. I don't want to die right now. Thankfully, the artillery does not take a pot shot us while we were spotted. We're up to 3k damage and 419 assistance. I did have HE loaded to try and go for the artillery, but in fact the Dragon drives out. We put a shot through the side of the Dragon there, putting him down to a one-shot for our light tank who's going in. Up to 3.3k damage. It'd be nice to get the second kill there on the next artillery so we can try and get ourselves Dimitrius. That would be glorious. So, it's now the race. We're going for that HE round. We want that big HE round, and I didn't expect to be able to actually have a shot at the equalizer from down here. I thought he might just hide in the corner, but we get a big shot in for 370 there. Hopefully get the reload in time to get a shot in and shut this guy down. He's chasing the light tank. He's just behind the rock, and for 6 damage, we get the 5th kill of the game. We go yoink! Thank you very much for that kill, Mr. Equalizer. I'll take it. We finished with the victory, the 5 kills, the 3.6k damage, with the 474 assistance, a Birders Medal, first class. So the Birders Medal is actually awarded for killing 2 artilleries that are 1 tier higher than your tank destroyer. That medal actually used to be for killing 5 artillery back in the day, so it's a very rare medal, and it's still even a rare medal for tank destroyers, because it's one of those pure RNG things of seeing 2 artillery that are 1 tier higher than you, at least, right? Same as it is for the, is it the Tamada Yoshio's medal? The Yoshio Tamada's medal? Well, whichever way you say that. Where you got to kill 2 artillery that are at least 2 tiers higher than you in a light tank. Very rare medals to get, so it's quite nice to get those sorts of things. I thought I was going to get it with Dimitrius. I forgot I got a Birders on that one. But there we go. We're on to the third replay. In this third replay, we're here on Fisherman's Bay. And on Fisherman's Bay, we're going to go to a pretty familiar position, and that is F6. And that's because this position is very, very nice for getting flanking shots across both flanks. You can flex to both sides quite easily. You can get early shots across the people that cross into the town. Maybe those that camp as well towards their base. Sometimes you can catch out artillery. It depends on what gets spotted and stuff like that. And if things push aggressively in the town, you can also get very nice, easy shots into those guys as well. So we see the Tiger 1. And the Tiger 1's pushed down the middle. And that is the perfect scenario for us. Hello, Mr. Tiger 1. We put a shot into the Tiger 1, and we are in the perfect place for us, which is we are in a position where they shouldn't be able to see our lower plate here. They'll only be able to see our superstructure. And so they're going to have a higher chance of actually bouncing on us. And they've all pushed, because of where that Tiger went, they've all been very aggressive very quickly and got way too over-aggressive, which means they are in the perfect spot for us to farm. And a lot of their team are going this way. There's premium rounds being smashed at us as well, and we are bouncing those shots because, like I say, the superstructure on this vehicle is no easy penetration for even tier 8 premium rounds. It's no easy penetration. Will they penetrate you a lot? Yeah. But it's not easy for them to do it, and it's not a guarantee. So this sort of position is great. So we're just going to keep firing shots down range. Sadly, the gun derps there on the Panther 2. If we can get rid of this guy, that would be glorious, because he is one that does have high pen. That, yes, he's bounced 1 or 2 shots so far, but it doesn't take much for RNG to go his way and for him to get lucky and penning us. And he was the one that was focusing on as well, whereas the other guys were just not bothered about us whatsoever. So we got rid of the Panther 2, put a shot into track and pen the VZ44-1 there, who again I'm not particularly worried about. We get unspotted, which is great, and because we're firing at that distance, he doesn't have the best view range in the universe, and there's concealment between us, so he couldn't see me as we shut down the VZ44-1. We're up to 3k damage with 733 assistance, and that's where this tank is really nice, in that situation where you get yourself into that flanked tank destroyer location where you can just keep the DPM going, keep the gun flowing, and just farm away, which is what you want to be doing in your tank destroyers, right? You want to find that position where you can get into a good spot to stop an enemy push and then just wreck face, which is what the Cheeto SP can do. So we get a shot into the side of the Tiger 1 there. It sadly tracked him without penning him, but we do get the tracking assist, so I suppose we'll take it. We did manage to get a shot in, though, and there's a VK4502A at the back. This is where we might need to load some premium AP, because 205 pen can go through that guy, but it's not always a guarantee. He's a stock VK45028, you can tell by the turret and by the gun, realistically. But we get a shot in that tracked him, but we actually got all the spotting for that guy, and he gets finished off. There's 2 tanks left and the artillery. The artillery gets spotted in the corner. I don't really think I can get a shot here into the IS-3. So I'm just going to push towards the corner and see if I can find anyone else. And there's the equalizer. In a position that I was fully not expecting, we go for the HE round in the hopes that maybe we can get a big HE pen. But, well, yeah, he gets wrecked. And now we've got HE in for a pointless shell. So we're reloading HE here. Is this a mistake? I think... Oh, it's because there's an SU-130 PM. Hello, Mr. SU. 414 into that SU. That's why that 60mm of penetration can be nice for the higher alpha. Another one in for 473, putting him down to a one-shot. Those are lovely. When the HE pens, those rolls are very, very nice for this vehicle, especially with the DPM. I'm going to finish with 2 kills, 4.7k damage, 2.5k assistance, with the ace tanker, the high caliber, the Confederate, the sniper medal, and the 2.4k base XP. A really fantastic game there for the Cheeto SP, which, like I say, is a tier 7 tank destroyer that I do really enjoy playing. For a turretless tank destroyer, it's one that I enjoyed in that line, and it's one of the best ones in the Japanese tank destroyer line, because I feel like it's this one, then the Ho-Ri 3 at tier 10, and then the tier 9. But there we go. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.
A great success.